Church drama had exploded like never before. And this time, it wasn't happening behind closed doors or during quiet church meetings. It was all over the internet. You won't believe how it started. It began with one tweet, just one post from Bishop Talbert Swan, who was already known for speaking boldly about faith, race, and culture. But this time, he aimed straight at something the church wasn't ready to talk about: Black Greek letter organizations, better known as the Divine Nine. His post said, "You can't pledge allegiance to Jesus and then pledge to an org that promotes rituals, oaths, and secret ceremonies. That's not discipleship. That's dual loyalty." Let me tell you, that tweet lit social media on fire. Members of fraternities and sororities like Omega Psi Phi, Delta Sigma Theta, and Alpha Kappa Alpha didn't hold back. They clapped back hard. Some called Swan judgmental. Others said he was twisting scripture to push his own agenda. But here's the shocking part. Swan didn't back down. He actually doubled down. He started posting even more tweets saying that many Christians were mixing their faith with traditions that had nothing to do with the Bible. He even hinted that some gospel artists were just playing church and not living according to scripture. The timeline exploded with reactions, but then this is where it gets interesting. Lexi stepped in. Lexi, the popular gospel singer and host known for her funny takes and unfiltered opinions, dropped a video that changed everything. She didn't mention Bishop Swan's name, but everyone knew who she was talking about. She said, "Some of y'all are so saved you forgot how to be human. Ain't nobody worshiping idols in these organizations. We serve God and serve the culture." And just like that, the controversy doubled. Fans were now divided. Was Lexi standing up for cultural pride and community, or was she trying to cover up a deeper issue the church didn't want to face? Social media turned into a war zone. Some said Lexi was brave for standing up. Others said she was defending things that went against scripture. But the craziest part, while this battle was going on, screenshots started to surface. Pictures of pastors involved in what looked like secret rituals began spreading. Photos that were never meant to be seen by the public. No one knew who leaked them. But the damage was done. People began asking, were leaders really preaching one thing but doing another behind closed doors? And just when it felt like things couldn't get more chaotic, Bishop Marvin Winans entered the scene. Now this was huge. Bishop Winans, a respected name in gospel, rarely spoke out on social media. But this time, he said something on a podcast that grabbed everyone's attention. When asked about Christians in Divine Nine organizations, he said, "This generation is obsessed with calling everything demonic. Not everything unfamiliar is evil. The enemy is division, not Greek letters." That line caused a storm. To some, it sounded wise, but to others, especially Swan supporters, it sounded like a complete denial of the real issue. Lexi reposted Bishop Winans' video with the caption, "Finally, someone mature in the spirit." That was enough to trigger another response from Bishop Swan. He tweeted, "When the respected remain silent or dismiss truth to protect tradition, deception thrives." The shots were now fully public. People weren't just watching, they were choosing sides. As the digital firestorm raged on, things took an even darker and more twisted turn. Screenshots weren't the only things being leaked. Now, private Facebook messages between pastors started surfacing. Conversations where church leaders openly admitted being part of Masonic lodges, Eastern Star chapters, and Divine Nine organizations. One pastor wrote, "We preach against secret societies, but we're at their luncheons and taking oaths behind closed doors." That single line hit hard. The hypocrisy was no longer just a whisper. It was loud, visible, and public. This wasn't just a disagreement anymore. It was a reckoning. What made this story different was how quickly the sacred became mixed with satire. Memes flooded social media. Some funny, some offensive, and others just plain shocking. And then came the viral moment that nobody expected. Jesus got dragged into the drama. No, not in prayer, but in full-blown meme wars. Twitter and TikTok lit up with the trending hashtag, "What would Jesus pledge?" It started as a joke with people asking, would Jesus have pledged Alpha Phi Alpha, or would he just walk on water at the probate? At first it was silly, but very quickly the jokes got deeper. AI-generated images of Jesus wearing fraternity jackets, stepping in line, and even debating Paul about discipleship in Divine Nine groups began popping up everywhere. Some laughed, some were furious. Swan supporters called it pure blasphemy. Others said it was a necessary mirror, forcing people to ask serious questions about mixing faith with culture. One viral comment read, "Y'all more offended about Jesus memes than you are about Christians swearing loyalty to secret oaths. Make it make sense." But here's the craziest part. Lexi reposted one of those memes. The image showed Jesus turning water into wine at a frat party. Her caption, "If Jesus could turn water into wine, I'm sure he could have handled a step show without losing his salvation." That post sent conservative Christians into a rage. They accused her of using the holiness of Jesus for clout and entertainment. Critics said she wasn't just dodging accountability, she was mocking conviction altogether. Meanwhile, Bishop Swan was not letting up. He switched gears and began posting scripture-heavy content urging believers to examine the true roots of their spiritual affiliations. And this time he wasn't just targeting pastors. He started calling out gospel artists, choir directors, and seminary professors. He said some of them were acting more Greek than Christian and hiding behind titles while living double lives. His posts gained traction and controversy. People were watching closely, waiting to see who would defend themselves and who would stay silent. Then came another twist, and trust me, this is where it gets interesting. An old sermon clip of Bishop Marvin Winans surfaced. In it, he passionately warned about Christians mixing faith with worldly traditions. His exact words were, "You can't claim to be led by the Spirit of God while submitting yourself to rituals and oaths not authored by Him. That's confusion and God is not the author of it." Wait, what? Just days earlier, Winans had said the enemy was division, not Greek letters. But now, this sermon showed him saying the complete opposite. People were stunned. Was Bishop Winans being inconsistent? Was he evolving, or worse? Was he playing both sides to protect his image? The internet was on fire again. Clips of the sermon were shared with captions like, "So, which Winans do we believe? The preacher or the podcast guest?" And of course, Bishop Swan couldn't stay silent. He reposted the sermon with a single line, "I'll just leave this right here." It wasn't just a disagreement. Now, it was deeply personal. A digital war between spiritual giants unfolding right in front of millions. Behind the scenes, the fallout was growing fast and getting even messier. Key leadership circles began buzzing with whispers. Some bishops tried to remain neutral, but the pressure was on. Murmurs spread that several respected leaders were being forced to pick a side. The divide wasn't just between individuals anymore. It was generational, cultural, and spiritual. Older leaders were calling for unity and tradition, while younger pastors and millennial voices demanded truth, transparency, and a full-on spiritual reset. One younger bishop from Atlanta tweeted, "You don't fight the spirit of confusion by creating division. The gospel isn't a sword for self-promotion." That post hit hard. Meanwhile, a protege of Bishop Charles E. Blake shared a sermon clip where he shaded pastors flip-flopping to stay relevant in culture. Although names weren't mentioned, it was clear the heat was aimed at Winans. Suddenly, the once respected unity of the Kojic denomination was under public attack. Lexi on her end wasn't staying quiet either. She hopped on Facebook Live and said, "Y'all can keep arguing about Greek life and secret oaths. I'm just trying to live saved, mind my business, and not let angry Christians steal my joy." But critics weren't buying it. Many accused her of dodging the spiritual questions completely. Some gospel commentators said she was using humor to deflect responsibility and protect her image. One blog post even dragged her with the title, "Lexi, Gospel or Gospel Adjacent." But destiny took an unexpected turn when something else leaked. An anonymous email titled The Church of Culture. This wasn't just a rumor. It was a full expose. The email began circulating in gospel Facebook groups, and its content shocked the church world. It listed over 40 names, gospel singers, pastors, musicians, allegedly involved in Freemasonry, Eastern Star, and Greek letter organizations. The email even included screenshots of DMs, secret invites, and blurry photos from private ceremonies. While the authenticity of the images wasn't confirmed, the damage was already done. Church folks were rattled. The private had officially become public. This wasn't just drama anymore. This was a spiritual identity crisis, and the church was in the middle of it. People began flooding comment sections with one burning question. Can you serve both Christ and culture? Or is it time for the church to choose a side? From pulpits to TikTok timelines, sermons to shade, everyone had something to say. Pastors began preaching whole sermons dedicated to the controversy. Some warned against